Have you ever wondered what you would be willing to sacrifice to achieve your dreams? Would you give up your most precious memories in exchange for a new life? Let me tell you something I should never have witnessed while working as a guide for people seeking to cross the border. A story that haunts me every night and changed my perspective on the true cost of hope. My name is Mike, and for years I have been helping people cross the border between Mexico and the United States. Many know me as a coyote, but I prefer to consider myself a facilitator of dreams. Or at least that is what I told myself until that fateful October night when I discovered the tunnel that would change everything. It all began when an old contact told me about an infallible route and underground passage that guaranteed successful crossing. The price was considerably higher than my usual rates, but the promise of a safe path was too tempting for my clients. What I did not know was that this tunnel held a secret so dark that it would haunt me for the rest of my life. I gathered a group of 12 people. Among them was Sarah, a single mother who sought to reunite with her children, Carlos, a young doctor who dreamed of a better life, and elderly Robert, who wanted to spend his last years with his family. Their stories moved me as they always do, but this time something felt different. The air was charged with a strange electricity when we approached the tunnel entrance, hidden behind a series of rocks in the middle of the desert. At first, everything seemed normal. The tunnel was surprisingly spacious and well-built, with reinforced walls and a rudimentary ventilation system. But as we moved forward, I noticed something was wrong. People started acting strangely. Sarah stopped mentioning her children. Carlos could not remember why he had studied medicine, and Robert stared into the void as if he had forgotten his own name. The true horror revealed itself when I realized that the tunnel was not just a physical passage, but something more sinister. Each step my companions took seemed to drain something from them. Their eyes lost their shine, their smiles faded, and their stories fragmented like dry leaves carried by the wind. It was as if the tunnel fed on their essences, their memories, their emotions, everything that made them who they were. I tried to make them turn back, but it was too late. The tunnel exerted a strange attraction over them, pushing them forward as if they were puppets. I could only watch helplessly as they transformed into shadows of what they once were. Their laughter turned into empty echoes, and their dreams dissolved in the darkness of the passage. When we finally reached the other side, my 12 companions had completely changed. Technically, they had achieved their goal. They were on American soil, but the cost had been devastating. They were like empty shells walking without direction or purpose. Sarah no longer remembered her children's names. Carlos looked at his hands as if he had never held a scalpel, and Robert just sat on the sidewalk and began to cry without knowing why. Since then, guilt haunts me for having been part of something so terrible. I have seen some of them wandering the streets of different cities. They are like living ghosts trapped between two worlds, not really belonging to either. Their families receive them, but soon realize that the person they knew no longer exists. Only a shell remains that breathes and walks, but has lost everything that made it human. Now, whenever someone contacts me looking to cross the border, I refuse to mention that tunnel. I prefer to face the known dangers of the desert than condemn another soul to that terrible fate, because I have learned the hard way that some prices are too high even for the biggest dreams. This story I share with you is a warning. There are places in this world that should not be disturbed, passages that demand sacrifices too great. If you ever find a path that seems too easy, too perfect, ask yourself what you are willing to lose in the process. Because sometimes the true cost of our dreams is not measured in money, but in pieces of our soul. If this story impacted you as much as it did me, do not forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share in the comments what you would be willing to sacrifice for your dreams. Although I warn you, be careful what you wish for, because there are forces in this world that might take you at your word. See you in the next story.